Luciano, I think we will start from you. Who you are, where you're from, few words about you, what was you doing in your country?
Okay, it could be a long story. I'll try to make it short. I'm born in Switzerland, but I have an Italian mother, so I have two nationalities. I'm Swiss and I'm Italian. I studied German literature and mass media in Switzerland. And after certain first experiences in profession, I realized that nowadays you have to understand money, so I added a second study, which was business administration, management, essentially. That was already connected to an experience in the film sector, because my passion has been film. I started to we were creating film clubs at university. We were showing movies that the cinemas were not showing, and then later we started to do our own Swiss movies at the time where there was no Swiss production at all. And that was then my profession for like 25 years. But I have always been involved in training, because, I don't know, because maybe when I was a student I was earning my living by teaching, so I had this interest in teaching, and I was involved in providing training for film producers in Europe first, then for a while in South Africa, and then between 2004 and 2009 it was my first experience in Eastern Europe, where I was involved in a training program for film producers in the South Caucasus. And it's exactly because of that activity and that experience that I have been proposed to lead this team of experts that advises the Eastern Partnership Culture Program, and that makes that since 2012. Now I'm living here in Kiev.
As so, how to say, creative personality, what do you like in Ukraine the most for your professional interest? I mean, maybe in movies, in everything. What gives you inspiration in Ukraine?
I mean, it's people in general. I find it a very open-minded, at least the people that I met were very open-minded, represented a very open-minded society with interests in many different fields, and what I've seen through cultural events, exhibitions, in the cinema. I mean, one of the biggest obviously is Fest, which is always very inspiring, and it's astonishing what these the initiators of Fest managed to do with practically no support from nobody, and then they reached thousands and thousands of spectators. I think it's even unique for whole Europe. I haven't seen similar activities or events in Europe. And then also there is a kind of a spirit of independence in Ukraine that I like very much, which I knew already through the events in 2004 with the Orange Revolution, and then what was happening here between last November and spring this year was obviously very, very amazing. Without me ever having imagined that I would one day live in a country that is at war. But I think for me it's a absolutely essential experience in my life, and I'm very happy that I had the chance to live in these events together with Ukrainians in this very crucial period of Ukrainian history.
Mm-hmm. But living in country with revolution and war and such process, like you in the role of movie creator, don't you have some ideas to create any movies? It's your nature.
Yes, that's true. I mean, there are many stories. It's true. I mean, this country is full of stories, and I really would wish that much more is being done. Now I have, for whatever reason, never had myself the wish to make movies myself. I was producing movies, so I was producing the films that others wanted to make. I think it's because I have too large interests. I cannot imagine to spend 2 years of my life or 3 years of my life just concentrating on one single story. It would be like a too narrow topic, which I would not have the discipline and the concentration to do. But I need, and that was nice being a producer, that I could be dealing with many different stories at the same time, because you develop projects, you write, you are cooperating with writers to write a script, you are preparing a film, you are distributing the films that you have finished, so you are connected to many different topics. And that's a bit the same in my actual position as a team leader of this team of experts for the Eastern Partnership Culture Program. We are dealing with 6 countries, with the culture sectors of 6 countries, with culture creators of 6 countries, with 6 governments. So it's a very large area of topics I have the privilege to be dealing with, and that's what I find inspiring for myself. Mm-hmm. But you're absolutely right. I think that there is a lot to be told about the history, the present events, at all levels, socially, culturally, politically, and I believe that the ones that say that in the future they will say that this was a decisive moment for Europe, what's happening in Ukraine right now, that is true. And that whoever is telling the stories of what's going on now are really dealing with topics and events that are relevant for whole Europe, if not for the whole world.
Mm-hmm. And do you believe Europe knows enough about Ukraine?
No. No, unfortunately, if there is something that I would have wished Maidan would have done differently, was that Maidan was not caring enough for explaining what they are and what they do in Ukraine, for instance in the East, and they didn't explain it enough to Europe, and also then the new government didn't explain it enough to Europe, so that the Russian propaganda kind of took over. There has been a long period, months and months and months, where the picture that Europe had was the one that was told by the Russian propaganda machine. And it's only now, slowly, they start to realize how much lies were in the Russian media and what the reality is. You must also understand that it's connected to societies in the West. For them, the general attitude is, okay, everybody tells or describes the situation from his point of view, mm-hmm. and there are always 2 points of views. So if you want to know the truth, you have to think, okay, A tells it this way, B tells it that way, so the reality is probably in the middle somewhere. And they do not assume and do not think and do not believe that A is completely and 100% lying, so that this rule cannot apply. And that was the problem at the beginning, and it took a long period until the media and then later the politicians started to understand to what extent the picture that was being described about Ukraine was absolutely completely wrong. Mm-hmm.